Hi, I'm Michelle from the Toffee Tree and I'm going to show you two ways to gather fabric. The first one I'm going to share with you is the more traditional way of gathering fabric using 2 rows of stitches, and the second is what I affectionately refer to as the cheats method. For both of them you'll need to make sure that your machine is set on a straight stitch. So take your first piece of fabric, you're going to up your stitch length up to 6, and you're going to make sure that your machine tension is set just to normal. Pull your threads so that you've got a bit of a tail there, and then you're going to sew your first row of stitching quite close to the edge of the fabric, so about 3mm away. Keep in mind that you want your basting stitches to stay in your seam allowance when you're sewing. All the way to the end. Pull it out so that again you've got a bit of a tail there, so you've got some thread to work with. Snip that off and now sew another row quite close again to the first one. And you can see that I've got 2 rows of stitching there quite close together. We're going to separate the threads, so the top from the bottom, and then you're just going to ease your fabric so that you're gathering that up as you pull that down. You can work from one end or you can switch and work from the other end as well. Sometimes that works quite nicely. You separate them apart and again pull them down, and then I like to secure the ends with a pin so that it doesn't pull out, and then wrap that around in a figure 8 around your pin so that it's secured at the end of your row. So you can do that on either end. So that's your first way of gathering fabric. The second cheats method is my favourite way because it's nice and quick, and it's pretty good for gathering just one layer of fabric. So you need to know where your thread tension dial is on your machine. Mine's here. Usually they go from 0 up to 7, 8 or 9. Mine goes all the way up to 9. I just turn it to maximum. Leave your stitch length on 6, or the maximum stitch length for your machine. Again, pull your thread so that you've got a bit of a tail there, and then you're going to sew again nice and close to the edge. And as you start sewing, you'll notice that that fabric is starting to gather along the back of the machine there already. If you pull this up the top of your machine, where the thread before it goes into your guides, you're going to pull that and it will make that fabric start to gather even more at the back as you're sewing. So I'll just keep going. The amount of tension you give to that top thread will determine how bunched up your gathering ends. So you can see there that as that's stitched with the machine, it's sort of gathered up automatically. That's really good for if you're ruffling sleeves, things that you want even just a gentle gather in. Be careful that you've left enough thread on the end, because if you've gathered it too much you want to be able to ease it back off again. Different types of fabric will give you different results with this cheats method. If you've got something a bit heavier, like a drill or a cotton duck type fabric, then it's not going to gather very well with that cheats method. It's just too stiff. The same with 2 layers of fabric. It just tends to be a bit too heavy. It works really beautifully for lightweight fabrics like muslin, chiffon, rayon, voile, that sort of thing, and perfectly well for just lightweight quilting cottons. The more rows that you do in your gathering, the neater your gathering is going to be. So that's one of the real benefits to doing that traditional method of gathering as well. So there you have 2 ways to gather fabric. I hope that helps your sewing today.